Good morning, everyone. Today on Perspectives, we will hear of the impact the University of South Alabama has made and is making on its community and the region of the state. Celebrating 60 years, the four-year institution of higher learning has graduated thousands, and with a nearly $1 billion annual budget, is also a major driving force in the local economy. In the early 1960s, Mobile's civic leaders saw a need to improve access to higher education in southwest Alabama. So they formulated plans, and then in May of 1963, the Alabama legislature passed a bill creating the degree-granting institution for Mobile. A year later, in 1964, nearly 300 students enrolled in the newly created independent university, USA. The first fall semester saw enrollment more than triple, though, as nearly 1,000 students were in the classrooms. Today, South Alabama has grown to now educating annually more than 13,500 students on the sprawling campus in West Mobile. South says it's a comprehensive global university offering nearly 100 degrees, and South Alabama's total annual budget is nearly $940 million, and it's one of the largest employers in the region as well, with nearly 6,000 employees, generating a payroll of more than $600 million. And when we talk annual economic impact, we're looking at more than $3 billion. South Alabama says that their mission, service-oriented, cross-trained, and a solution-seeking team striving to empower students to be successful in their academic journey. Our guest this morning on Perspectives, President Joe Bonner of the University of South Alabama. Well, after a quick break this morning, we'll talk with Joe Bonner about the impact the university has made on our community and the region of the state these past 60 years, and what is the vision and his vision for the years ahead. Perspectives continues in just a moment. Welcome back. Our very special guest this morning, Joe Bonner, president of the University of South Alabama. And we've had the pleasure of meeting in different capacities over the years, and I remember the first time meeting you in Washington, chief of staff of Sonny Callahan's office there.
That was just yesterday, wasn't it?
It seems like it, doesn't it?
We haven't changed a bit either.
No, you do look the same.
Well, you do too.
All right.
It's great to be back on the program. Thank you so much.
Very glad to have you. I guess a couple of things as we think about the different directions we want to go. Talk about the 60 years of the university here, but also it's been a little over a year now, your time at, I guess, what, almost a year and a half since this is June now.
That's right.
Of time in this new capacity. You went from politics to working with your sister, I guess we could say, so to speak, at the University of Alabama. So you had that taste of education there in Tuscaloosa. And then, of course, you went back into a little political situation in Montgomery, working with the governor there. So how has it been this first year and a half?
Well, first of all, I think you were the first one nice enough to welcome me back for an interview after I became president last January. And I will tell you, it has been nothing but a joy, an honor, and really a privilege of a lifetime to hopefully cap my career of public service here at the University of South Alabama. And it seems like it was just yesterday that I was on the set. We were actually outside because we were still dealing with COVID.
That's right.
Protocol. So a lot's happened just in that time. As you said, we just last month on May the 5th, we celebrated the 60th anniversary of the university. The actual anniversary was May 3rd. That's when the legislature in 1963 created the University of South Alabama. And unlike a lot of universities that were teachers' colleges or had a long history doing something else in higher education, we were at one time a satellite campus for the University of Alabama.
What was it called at that time?
Well, it was the Mobile Extension Center, and it was downtown. And you could only get a 2-year degree. This before the junior college system really took off like it has in the state. So they didn't award degrees, but it gave you your first start toward a college education. The founding fathers at the time, the mayor, the legislators, Dr. Whidden, the first president, he was the director of the Extension Center in Mobile. They got together and said, you know, Mobile is going places. We're the second largest city in the state. We've got a lot of great things going on, and we need our own degree granting institution. And that's really how, I think, as you mentioned in the lead-in, there were fewer than 300, about 295 students. We moved out to West Mobile, and
how many acres initially?
well, it was small.
Okay.
We've got 1,200 acres now, so it was much smaller. In fact, I'm in the Whidden Administration Building, named after President Whidden. And that was the first building, so it was not only the president's office, but the math classroom, the chemistry lab, the English class, everything was in one building.
He was very close to the students at that time.
He was. He was very close. But it has now grown into a beautiful, and I love to look at the camellia bushes and the azalea bushes. They're now almost trees. But many of those, Mrs. Whidden actually planted. She and some of the spouses of the faculty members.
Well, we enjoy walking on the campus, and you see the beauty and the attention that's to the detail of all of the plants and trees and flowers, and it's really a joy. It's almost like being in Fairhope.
Well, it is a beautiful campus, and it's one of the selling features, one of the many selling features. You know, in those early years, a lot of times students would be adult students, and they might be going to school at night. We didn't have dorms. At the first, we later built a dorm. In fact, we were getting ready to tear down the first dorm, Alpha Hall, to make way for a brand new medical school that we're about to break ground on. So the campus has changed, but in a very positive way. President Whidden was there for many years, and then we were fortunate to have President Gordon Moulton come in. And President Moulton and his wife Jerry, and Jerry is still with us in the university.
Good.
She's very active. In fact, we celebrated Moulton Tower just a couple days ago, and she was out there with us. But I think everyone recognizes that what Dr. Whidden did was have the vision and provide the leadership to get that university off the ground, and then President Moulton came in and put some of those flowers in place and made it a more beautiful campus.
Indeed, and say, I guess, not that he came in, he was there and you pulled him up, because
That's right.
he had that love for that university, having been there so many years himself.
He was one of the early hires that Dr. Whidden made, and he was, in his own right, what he and Jerry were able to do was to really put, as I like to say, put flowers on the campus of that beautiful campus and make it into what it is today. And of course, most recently, President Waldrop came from Florida and served with us for 6 years and did a remarkable job, especially in the area of growing our research and graduate programs. So I'm the 4th president, and
that's amazing. Only 4 in the 60 years.
I pinch myself every day. Janae and I talk about how blessed and fortunate our lives have been, that whether it was working for Congressman Callahan or even interning for Congressman Edwards, or having the privilege of representing the people of South Alabama in Congress myself for 6 terms, this is clearly the icing on the cake. This is to have a chance every day to meet with students from all 67 Alabama counties, all 50 American states, and this year 63 different countries. This isn't that university that was downtown just a few years ago.
It really is quite a story. Before you move on, what has been the most difficult part in the transition for you?
Well, I don't know that anything has been difficult, but there have been some challenges. So when I came into office last January, we had about 5 vice presidencies, vacancies. We had about 6 of the 10 dean vacancies. So I didn't have to fire anyone, because a lot of people had left, but they had been there for 25 or 35 years. So I don't think they were leaving because I was coming on board. But filling those leadership roles has been an important challenge and a very good opportunity for us to bring new people in. We've filled all the vice presidencies, and We've got 2 deans left. We are interviewing for the Mitchell College of Business, very important position,
Yes.
and for the College of Education and Professional Studies. Another, I mean, this is the school that's teaching our teachers. About 85% of the teachers in Mobile and Baldwin counties have either gotten a degree or certification from the University of South Alabama College of Education.
That
So
speaks volumes.
those are really important positions, and hopefully before the fall we'll have 2 really good people in those positions.
Well, let me ask you, who do you work with to make these selections since you are just coming in yourself? Who came to the table?
So one of the first things that I had to do was, so Dr. John Smith had been the interim president, and he was, previous to that, he was Dr. Waldrop's executive vice president. John told me he was leaving, he was retiring, he'd been there for many years. So the interim provost at the time was Dr. Andy Kent. She was the Dean of Education, and quite frankly, when Dr. Waldrop appointed her interim, I don't think she ever thought she would one day be the permanent. But not only is she the provost, I asked her to be the executive vice president provost. And really, Eric, that was based on a lot of things. Number one, she's been at the university for 19 years. She was a K through 12 teacher, actually taught 3rd grade before that in Mobile County Public Schools, 2-time graduate of South. But I knew from my sister's career, Judy was the executive vice president provost under Dr. Witt at the University of Alabama before she became president. And I knew that if you had someone who's really good, who knows that institution, and who is respected throughout the institution, that having someone like Dr. Kent work with me, who knows the campus and who has the respect of the campus, that would help me in the transition, and it has.
We're going to hold on that point, take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about all of the things that have happened over the years, the new things that are going on, and of course, your vision for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
60. Let's say 60.
Okay, that will say 60 years. We'll have more with President Joe Bonner in just a moment. Welcome back. And our very special guest this morning, President Joe Bonner of the University of South Alabama, and talking about some of the incredible things that have happened in the last 60 years. People that you've talked to, because you would have been still in elementary school at that time, if then, I'm going to have to count back, but what are they saying about what they have seen happen in these 60 years? Are they extremely proud of the institution?
Our alumni, and believe it or not, we've got over 95,000 men and women who have earned their degree from the University of South Alabama in 60 years. That's pretty remarkable, too. Let me give you a quick data point on that. It took the University of Alabama 141 years. It took Auburn 101 years to get to where we are today in terms of our size and our impact.
And that speaks volumes.
So it does. It just shows you that this university has been, in many ways, on steroids over the last 60 years. And so, Eric, when I talk with our alumni, I was actually with a group of medical alumni. Our medical school is turning 50 this year as the university, as is our nursing school. We've got the largest nursing school in the state.
I was going to ask you about that.
And one of the largest graduate nursing programs in the nation. But when I talk with our alumni, and last year, during this last year and a half, I've had a chance to meet alumni in Washington, D.C., on the Potomac River, all the way to the Pacific Ocean when we went out to open the season last year against UCLA in Los Angeles. And our alumni, time and time again, tell me and tell us how proud they are. How proud they are that their degree has grown in value, that it's an open door for them to do more things. We now have people who are presidents of companies, chairmen of boards, educators, engineers. It's really a remarkable success story. And I get to hear all these stories from these alumni who come back and have found reason to reconnect. Part of it is a few years ago when we built an on-campus football stadium. And today, not only is Hancock Whitney a great venue for our students and fans, but it brings alumni back to campus to watch world-class football. First 10-win season last year was on my watch. I don't want to take any credit for that, but let's just state the facts.
Right, there you go. Well, you know, we were talking earlier with Lance Crawford, who I've known for quite a while, and he's with you now at South, and he was saying he wondered why in the past, 'cause, he was the big sports anchor
That's right.
here,
That's
and he talked about wondering why they hadn't. And then, of course, Joe Godfrey, he was always wanting to make it happen. And what does that mean to the institution? And, we're talking a game, sports, but it has a meaning to people when it comes to recognition and understanding of our university.
Well, let me tell you what it means. Our students can walk out their dorms or their sorority or fraternity houses and within 3 minutes be in the stands. Yeah, it may not be the biggest stadium in the state, but I would put it up against any other stadium in the country in terms of its beauty, its accessibility. You don't have to stand in long lines to get your concessions.
Good seating vantage points, too.
There's not a bad seat in the house. And so it's given us really an opportunity. We have 17 Division I sports. And our athletic director, Dr. Joel Erdman, and you know him, Joel is just an incredible ambassador, not only for our athletic department, but when he goes out, we just brought in one of the top young women's golf coaches, came from the University of Miami down in Florida to come here. We just brought back an incredible young lady who was an assistant coach under Coach Fowler. She's now our new women's basketball coach. So the athletic department in many ways is like the front porch of a university. And so students want to go where they get that full campus experience. I like to say, if you go to the University of South Alabama, we're going to help you get a first-class ticket to a brighter future. And we're doing that for our current students. We're also spending a lot of time recruiting new students. And Dr. Kent, who I mentioned in the earlier segment, she and I, just since August of last year, the beginning of the last academic year, she and I together, not counting what our enrollment and recruitment office have done, got on our buses, these JAG buses that we take our athletes everywhere, and we recruited more than 105 different schools, from teachers to guidance counselors. We brought students in from J.U. Blackshear and Uriah, Alabama, and Flomaton, and we went over to recruit students in Mississippi. Eric, we touched over 8,500 high school juniors and seniors in this area of the Gulf Coast. That's why we say with confidence that we're going to be the flagship of the Gulf Coast, because we believe we have some unique opportunities to do just that.
And I was on the campus just a couple of days or so ago, and there had to have been at least maybe 20 buses from schools from Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, all the surrounding counties, including my grandson's school. And these were all athletes looking and experiencing the South Alabama experience, I guess you could say.
Prospective football players, prospective band members. We're going to be breaking ground, hopefully in the not too distant future, on a new band practice facility and a practice field for the Jaguar Marching Band that, again, 12 years ago we didn't have a band. And now we've got over 250 members. Dr. Will Peterson is our band director. They got to march in some of the Mardi Gras parades this past year. And everywhere they go, they were in the governor's inauguration parade up in Montgomery. Everywhere the Jaguar Marching Band goes, they are out there not only providing beautiful music, but they're providing a beautiful addition to whatever the venue is. So it's truly a total campus experience. We've got the only engineering school within a 200-mile radius in this state, one of only 2 medical schools. I mentioned we're going to be breaking ground for a new medical school. Let me tell you a fact that's something we're proud of. 95% of our students that go to medical school at South are from Alabama or the Gulf Coast. 90% of the ones who graduate stay here and practice medicine. So we're not only training doctors and nurses and physical therapists and occupational therapists to provide world-class medical care, but they're doing it here in places like Monroeville and in Atmore and in Jackson, as well as throughout the Gulf Coast.
And the needs are great, right, in the hinterland. Before we run out of time, I want to make sure that give you a chance to talk about your vision for these next years, because I was noticing somebody is advertising right in the South Alabama realm of their institution, not too far from here. And I was thinking to myself,
I saw that billboard.
Yes,
Yeah.
How dare they? But it sounds like things are in place. Take about a minute and a half and give us a look at what's ahead for South.
So on the day that we announced the kickoff of our 60th, we said up front, we're going to give the proper amount of time to recognize all the people, the faculty, the students, the alumni, the presidents, the board of trustees that helped us get where we are. But we're not going to dwell on the past. We're going to look to the future. We're confident in our future. We're recruiting students. We're bringing in world-class faculty. We are doing everything we can to prepare ourselves. As Mobile and Baldwin counties and the Gulf Coast grows, we're going to be there to grow with it. And so we're excited about where we are, but we're even more optimistic about where we're going. And we invite people to come out. I know you and Eleanor like to walk on the campus.
Love it.
Whether it's walking on the campus, coming to a play, coming to a football game, or something at the Mitchell Center, come be a part of it. We also announced a new Performing Arts Center.
Correct.
Mr. Abe Mitchell has announced that he is going to donate the first $20 million. So we'll be working on that. There's so much in the future, and we want the Mobile, greater Gulf Coast community to know that we're your university. No matter what other jersey color you might have in your closet,
Right.
Everyone loves the red, white, and blue.
So some exciting things on the drawing board, on the planning board, and already under construction for
right.
these next 50, 60 years.
And I'm going to give you the 60th anniversary button, and hopefully I'll
Awesome.
be able to come back to Perspectives when we celebrate our 80th.
All right.
If you're here, I'll try to be here.
Okay, I'll have to talk to a few people about that part, but we'll see how that part goes. But we thank you so much for coming and talking and sharing, because it's good to hear the story from those who love the university and have been aware of the past and, of course, now a part of the future of this.
Well, we want everyone to be a part of it because it is not only exciting, but it is our future, and we want everyone to be there.
We thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, and we thank you for being a part of this. For more information on South Alabama, go to the university's website there at southalabama.edu. And don't forget, previous episodes of the program can be found on our webpage as well as our YouTube page. I'm Eric Reynolds. You have a great week ahead.